Hi, this is Craig Cockrell. I'm the Albuquerque District Superintendent of the New Mexico Annual Conference of the United Methodist Church. I'm in my second year, and I started off my first year making a lot of these videos, or at least a handful of them. Excited about being able to communicate some things to everyone in the district in this way. And then I ran into some health issues, and it seemed to be one thing after another. I appreciate all your prayers during those times. I just eventually had to laugh at myself when it was one thing after another, but I was sustained, I know absolutely, by your prayers and by your checking in on me. So thank you for that time. This is my second year, and I wanted to get another video started before we began another season of charge conferences. Now, if you're not United Methodist, you have no idea who I am or what I'm talking about. So this is kind of insider baseball for those people who are United Methodists. The charge conferences or church conferences are our annual church meetings, and I go to every single congregation that I possibly can and hold these meetings, and they're really a celebration mostly of what's good and what's happened and what's planned in the church ahead. So I'm excited for this season coming up. First thing I want to do is welcome all the pastors who are new to the district and those who have changed positions within the district. Every year we think, I believe that we're not going to have that many changes, and every year it always surprises us. This year we had a few people change churches. Dustin Burrow is at Christ United Methodist Church. Kelly Giese is at St. John's United Methodist Church as associate. And John Nash has gone to First United Methodist Church in Los Alamos. Welcome back to you three and to your new places. I trust everything is going well. My conversations with you suggest that it is. New people in the district. Lourdes Calderon has gone to El Buen Samaritano. Josh Curry to Mesa View United Methodist Church. Gerald Powley to Valley View United Methodist Church in Espanola. And Daniel Armstrong to Peralta Memorial United Methodist Church. We're excited for them. Also, Jennifer Hughes is a CLM, a Certified Lay Minister, who has gone to Grants. And I'm really excited for her. She had such a passion, as so many of our lay pastors do, to do church leadership. And some of our smaller churches really need someone with that kind of passion and that kind of faith. So Jennifer, we're excited that you're at Grants, and for all of you who are starting new, we're welcoming you here. I hope that all of our pastors will uphold one another in prayer and check in with one another. This is hard. The ministry is much harder now than when I got into it, and the generation before me said the same thing to me. So it's hard work that we do. And sometimes we can't always see what we're doing for the kingdom. We have to trust God in that. But thank you for all of you for what you are doing and what you will do. It's Charge Conference season. That'll be starting up very soon. I wanted to go through briefly and just say I'm trying to find new ways to make the Charge Conference less of a burden on the congregations and the churches. So we cut back on some of the reports because they were a little bit redundant. We were asking for statistics at Charge Conference time and at the end of the year, for a financial report at Charge Conference time and at the end of the year, some of those kinds of things. So feel free to fill out all the reports you want to do. I had one church fill out every report ever conceived of last year. If you want to do that, that's okay. But really, I think that some of these things are a little bit redundant. So let's take a look at what the agenda will be. We elect a secretary, then there's a nominations report, which is your own form, however your administration is conceived and constructed. We nominate those people for that, especially those who will serve on nominations. And then there's a church officials list with all the contact information. We need both of those. There's a pastor's ministry report without the statistics, just what are the highlights of the year, what are the highlights of the plans. Feel free to include others if there are other reports or other people that need to be a part of this. Then the setting of the pastor's compensation. That's the Staff Parish Relations Committee or Pastor Parish Relations Committee chair, and we'll set that. A celebration or election of any of those who are renewing or beginning paths to certified forms of ministry, a CLM, a certified lay minister, a lay servant. retired ministers reports. I always love to check in with retired ministers if you have any in your congregations. Our commitment to keeping our places of worship and ministry safe for all people are the two forms, child abuse policies and sexual misconduct policies. Those are forms that remind us of our responsibility to keep our places safe and to look out for one another. The question of the day, the conversation that I always like to have at Charge Conference. Last year I had 3 questions, and it seemed like that was even too much. I have 1 question this time. What is the story you are going to write in 2020? And that'll be made a little bit clearer in my devotion that I'll start off with. But what are you going to be as a church in the next year? You get to decide that. So I hope you'll give that some thought. Then there's a reception of any other reports that need to be included, and then we adjourn with prayer. So I hope that church conferences will be celebrations. I hope that, as last year, I got a lot of good reception from people who at the church conference felt like they were mostly fun, that they were a little bit lighter and a little bit easier to swallow than sometimes church conferences can be. And I did 35 years of those before I had to start being in charge of those, so I know how tough they can be. So thank you for all the work that you're putting in. If you haven't gotten your pastor's compensation form to us, you're supposed to get it to us a month in advance so that the people who know what that's supposed to look like can review it and make sure there are no mistakes. So that's one of those reports that really needs to be correct when it comes before us at church conference. So please get those in early, so that those people can take a look at it. This past summer was my first real summer as a district superintendent, and I didn't know what to do with myself. And I didn't want to do some things that might be a burden, do a book study or call us together as pastors or churches. I wanted you to have that time as much as possible. I don't want to be a burden to the pastors and the churches. But I did offer a series of retreats on Fridays during the Fridays of August, and we had several pastors come to those. And for the most part, I think most of the participants felt like those were worthwhile. But if you didn't come, please don't feel guilty about that. These were simply meant to be an offering for you. That if it was something you wanted to do, you could come and be a part of that. There were little half-day things, and I found them to be really meaningful. So I may try to do that again next summer in some way. Anyway, be in prayer for how I can do that better. What else do I need to mention here? Doug Mills is one of our coaches for the conference, and there are some classes coming up. And you can contact Doug up at Mountainside United Methodist Church. Let me pull back here a little bit. That gives you the information on the dates of some of those classes. I hope that's coming out right side up. However, it looks backwards to me here, but I hope it's coming out correct for you so that you can read this. Otherwise, just put this video up against a mirror, and that will work out fine. Doug also offers, he's gotten some specialized training that he can take. He can help your congregation, the leaders in your congregation, take the next step based on the book, The 5 Dysfunctions of a Team. And he is willing to come in and work with your leadership to help you figure out how you best work together. And I just want to mention this because Doug is very willing and very able to help congregations as they organize and as they learn to work together. Sometimes leaders have difficulty knowing how to get to that next place. So Doug can help you get unstuck. Give him a call if you're interested in that at all. So that's all I have on my list of things to mention today, but I want to leave you with a devotional thought. I'm reading a book that Randall Parton gave to me. It's called Strengthening the Soul of Your Leadership. He recommended this to me by Ruth Haley Barton. And this is how the first chapter ends. In this particular piece, kind of struck home with me. So I just want to share this with you. Someone has said you'd be surprised at what your soul wants to say to God. For those of us who are in leadership, it's often hard to find space that is quiet enough and safe enough for the soul to be as honest as it needs to be. We don't often take the time to sit quietly by the base of a tree in our own lives, look for the wild animal we seek to put in an appearance. Here is an invitation to sit quietly for a few moments for the sole purpose of allowing your soul to say what it needs to say to God. Don't try to force anything or work hard to make something happen. The soul runs from such attempts. Just sit quietly in God's presence and see what shows itself. This may take time. When your soul has finally said that thing that it has been waiting to say, you will know. If you sit long enough, you also might be surprised at what God wants to say to your soul. And she ends with this poem by Ted Loder from Guerrillas of Grace. Holy One, there is something I wanted to tell you, but there have been errands to run, bills to pay, arrangements to make, meetings to attend, friends to entertain, washing to do. I forget what it is I wanted to say to you. Mostly, I forget what I'm about or why. Oh God, don't forget me, please, for the sake of Jesus Christ. Oh Father in heaven, perhaps you've already heard what I wanted to tell you. What I wanted to ask you is, forgive me, heal me, increase my courage, please. Renew in me a little of love and faith, a sense of confidence, a vision of what it might mean to live as though you were real and I mattered, and everyone was sister and brother. What I wanted to ask in my blundering way is, don't give up on me. Don't become too sad about me, but laugh with me and try again with me, and I will with you too. Blessings as we enter this fall season. I know it's a busy time, and I look forward to being in your congregations to share with you at church conference. As always, if you need me for anything, I'm around. As close as a phone call. I pray for you. I hope for you. I believe in a future that God has for us as the United Methodist Church, and the future that God has in all our Albuquerque congregations. With all of the mess that's going on at the denominational level, I still discover churches being churches. Churches doing ministry, churches caring about others, churches loving others, churches sharing Christ. So just thank you for what you do.